everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I want you to know that today we're going to be doing Japanese sushi, but kind of like a California roll. We're also going to be doing Vietnamese spring rolls. And I'm going to also teach you how to make sushi dressing. It's not like a salad dressing. It's how you dress your sushi rice. But first, we want to thank the Ruth Memorial Library for helping co-sponsor this with the Friends of the Library. And this series is called Flavors of the World. And we are going to do a lot of tasting today of different components to make a sushi. So if you happen to want to share this, or if you miss it, or if you want to tag us your pictures, take a look at the Facebook page for the Ruth Keeler Memorial Library, as well as a YouTube channel, and just search Ruth Keeler Memorial Library, and you'll see these Zoom classes. I may reference something that's to our previous classes, and they're all there, all the videos for you to check out. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. First, we're going to start off by making the sushi dressing, is what I call it. And it's not like a salad dressing, it's what I dress my sushi rice with. Now, first, let's talk about sushi rice. If you purchase rice, you don't just use any kind of rice. You use what they call a pearl rice, which is short grain rice. And after you rinse it thoroughly, it removes the starch from it, which actually makes the short grain rice, which is naturally kind of glutinous and sticky, it makes it even more sticky. So it's very, it's the best rice to use for your sushi roll, because when you roll it, it sticks together and kind of makes one big mass. Okay. If you try to make it with long grain rice, you're going to have a mess on your hands. Okay. So you have to remember short grain rice, pearl rice, it's kind of the name for it. And you have to rinse it thoroughly, follow the instructions in the bag. Usually it's like 2 cups of dried rice to 3 cups of water. That's pretty much the ratio for that. And you cook it with a tight lid for like 20 minutes. After it comes up to a boil, you put it on simmer, and then you let it steam for like another, maybe like 10 minutes afterwards. You pour it out to a sheet tray, and then this dressing right here that we're going to make is what you use to mix it with it. And I'll show you what I have on mine. I already pre-made some, but I'm also going to show you, I'm going to show you the package that I use. This is the brand that I like for my sushi rice. Ledenberg also makes one, but this is a really good one. And you'll notice on here it says this is a medium grain, but they also make a short grain, but you can use it for sushi rice. Okay, so don't use like a long grain. Remember, short grain or medium grain or pearl rice. Okay, so we're going to start off here with the pot. I have mine kind of pre-warming just because I don't want it to take too long. I want to get to the fun stuff, and I'm going to just pour my water out that I had warming my pot up. Okay, so I'm going to have my pot, and we're going to use these products. Like this is a rice vinegar, and this is my mirin, just like a sweet. This one's called sweetened sake, but it's like a sweet cooking wine basically. And I'm going to take 1/4 of a cup with my rice vinegar, put it right into my pot. Now, I suggested last when we started the Asian cooking that you taste your products separately so that you know how they marry together, because that's the beauty of Asian cooking. Like I said last week, whoa, this is vinegar went right up my nose. The flavor profiles, they mix their flavors so masterfully that you always have like sweet and sour, hot and spicy. You know, they have all these different kind of flavors, and they're a master of mixing them together to where when you do taste them, you can taste everything, and it starts to come off your tongue like salty, then the sweet, then the sour. And in this particular one, it's the vinegar is the sour, the mirin is the sweet. We're going to add a little bit more sweet by putting in 3 tablespoons of sugar. Sprinkle that in. Okay. And a teaspoon of kosher salt. Now make sure it's kosher salt, okay? Because that's the portions you do with regular salt. It's going to be a completely different taste, okay? It'll be either too strong, too salty. Now take our whisk. I'm going to turn this up. We're going to take our whisk, and it's real easy. Just whisk it together, and you want it to come up to a boil. Only when it comes to a boil is it you're going to get like the marrying flavors in there. Now, what you want to do is you want to pre-make this, or while your rice is cooking, you want to pre-make this, okay? Because it's best absorbed into the rice when the rice is warm or hot. And so what I usually do is I get the rice going, and then I put this on low or whatever, and I get it up to a boil. You want all these things to dissolve in there. So I have it up to a, high, and we're going to let it come up to a boil in just a minute. Now, I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to grab my rice, which I have already cooked. And I have spread it out into a a sheet tray, which is lined with foil, but underneath it, there's some parchment paper. And I'll pull it off like that. You can see the parchment paper down there. Okay. This one already has the dressing on it. This is what I do. I put it out on a sheet tray and I get it ready when it comes out warm like that. And then I have it ready to go to put my dressing on it. Okay. Now, we're waiting for this to come up to a boil. This rice is going to be extremely sticky. I just barely touched it and I already have sticky rice on me. See? And I'm going to teach you the trick to that, how to deal with that when you're making sushi. But you want it sticky, okay? So I'm going to bring this up to a boil, like I said. It takes a little while since I don't have an induction cooker. I have my regular pot today. Now, before this gets too hot, you want to take a little taste of it because then you're going to see the difference of what it tastes like separately and then what it tastes like all together. That's good. Now, it may be very strong and intense. So you taste the vinegar like, woo, and then all of a sudden the sweet, and then at the very end, the salty. So it has 3 flavors. And if you taste it, you'll see, just like that vinegar taste, it gets you like in the back of the throat. It'll be the rice vinegar. Then you're going to taste the sweet, and the very end is the salty. And almost in that order, which is kind of weird thinking that it's all mixed together. How could that be? It's just how it is. Remember, I think of these as not condiments, as there's components. The components to the different Asian flavors. Okay, we're up to a boil. Take a look. You'll see that. You can smell the vinegar cooking in there. So we're going to turn this one off. Turn it off. And you don't put it on the rice when it cool, hot. You want to let this cool. So you got to time it right. So either you have to make it the day before and cool it. And you can even do all your rice and everything the day before if you wanted to, and just store it just like I had it with the plastic over it and the refrigerator overnight. So I'm going to pour it like in a ramekin. And let it cool there. And then I have it ready for my rice. Now, I have already put it on my rice earlier. I made another batch because I also like to use this as a dipping sauce sometimes, or even like a salad dressing. You can do that. Now, it's very hot. Go here. So away. So we're gonna let that cool. But let's just pretend that I'm gonna come over here, and if this was cool, I would be putting it on my rice with a silicone spatula, a bigger one, and I'd put in here. Now, depending on how much rice you have, this is about 1 tablespoon per cooked portion of rice. So right here, I have about 5 cups of rice. So I put in earlier 5 tablespoons here. I mixed it really good with a silicone spatula. So it's already in here. And because when the rice is warm, it'll absorb these flavors when this is cool. All right. So we're done with that. And we're going to set our sushi rice aside. Keep it covered. And we're going to start off with our Vietnamese spring rolls. Okay. So just want to teach you how to do the dressing so the dressing could cool. Now, when we're doing Vietnamese spring rolls, there are different brands that you can do of spring roll wrappers. This is Blue Dragon. I happen to like that. There's another one called Red Rose, I believe. They make them a little bit bigger. This is the only one I was able to find right now. So this is a various size. These are they're made out of rice. It has been dehydrated into a powder, and they make them into these sheets. They're delicate, so they crack very easily, and they also tear apart very easily. And they look like that. See? Now, you're going to see they have like this bamboo design on them, and then they have a different side. One is a little bit more smooth than the other, okay? So the side that has a texture up is what's going to go down, okay? This is considered the smooth side, although it's not smooth, but the bamboo side is what's going to go down into the water like that. Now, we're going to double it, but we're going to do one at a time. So I have them laid out here on the cutting board. I keep a paper towel next to me because it's going to get kind of watery and messy. And I have a large bowl, so I'll show you right here, of warm water, okay? So I'm going to make some of this over a little bit, just to make a little room to get it closer to me. And then I have all my components here. So you have to get, when you're doing Asian food, you get all your preparations. Now, this is what I have. I have pre-julienned, starting over here with cucumber. I have yellow squash. I have zucchini. I have some carrot. These are rice noodles, and they have been pre-cooked. They've been rinsed with cold water, and then I put like about a teaspoon of sesame oil and toss them around. So they were in the fridge, so they kind of have to come up to temperature again, and then they'll loosen up a little bit. Okay, I just brought them in the fridge. By the time we get started, they should loosen up. And then we have shrimp. You can use bib lettuce. Today I'm using romaine because this is what I have, and I don't like to waste food, so I'm going to use romaine, but you can use bib. And then I have some sliced avocado. I'm going to show you first, when you're working with sushi and with spring rolls, you don't want to use a whole shrimp. You see how thick they are? It makes wrapping either one very difficult to roll. So you want to basically slice your shrimp in half. You see how that's thin? So you take your piece of shrimp, you see it, and you lay it on the cutting board, and you just go across like this. And you cut the shrimp in half. See? Half the size. Now, a sushi chef just does it in his hand with a really sharp knife. This is just a serrated knife, but they'll cut it like that. You got to be careful not to cut your hand. But to do it easily, you just do it on the cutting board like that, and you get halves. Okay. So put those back in there. That's what that's the size of shrimp you want to work with. As far as you don't want a whole piece, because more sometimes is not better. Okay. Now I'm using pre-cooked shrimp. You don't want to use raw shrimp because obviously you'll get sick. So we have we're going to do one at a time. All right. So remember, the side that has the bamboo, you can feel the bamboo pieces, which is this side, is going to go down first. Okay. So this is going to go down first, and you have to kind of work very gently and fast, but be careful. You're going to go in there, and those marks are there for a reason. I submerge it, and you know when the marks almost disappear, it's time to take it out. Okay, you just kind of roll it around. The warm water starts to soften it. It's softening a little bit, but still hard. See? And I'll show you. See, those little lines are still there. So that means it hasn't softened it up yet. Now, it's starting to soften a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and take it out. Now, see how it's become like a membrane? So it tears very easily, so we're going to double it. Putting it right here. It's hard to work with. And when you buy them at the store, you'll realize probably why they charge so much for them. They're hard to work with. We're going to put one. Now we're going to do another one because it does tend to tear, and this gives us a little bit more. So I turn it like this. So you want the lines again to disappear, but you don't want it to disappear too much because then it'll become, the warm water softens it up, and I just keep checking it. And don't worry, they're going to tear. It takes a lot of practice. They tear on me. All right, now it's starting to soften a little bit more. Almost there. Oh, then we have a tear on that one, but all right, there it goes. It got soft. Tear. We're going to lay it right here on top of this one. Okay. Don't get discouraged if that happens because see, it's going to pull right off. Now they become two. So we have them like that. And what you want to do is, because I like to make them really pretty, the first thing you want to do is put a really pretty, let's get a cilantro leaf like that. It's like a design in there because it's not only about taste, it's about presentation with Asian food. So we're going to put 3 cilantro leaves. That. We're going to put our back towards you a little bit like this. And then we're going to put a little bit of lettuce in here. And remember, more is not always good. So leave some space at the ends, like 2 fingers, so that you'll be able to tuck it in almost like a burrito. So we have the lettuce. I'm going to put some shrimp. Pieces of shrimp in there. That. Then, and again, it depends on what you want to put in yours. Like, definitely want to put our rice noodles in there. Again, leave some room at the end. Gonna put a little bit of zucchini and make them like this, parallel. A little bit of this color. Carrots. Put some cucumber. Okay, so there you have it. Wet your hands a little bit there. And we're gonna start off folding it first, like a fold over, okay? Keep your hands a little wet. And you're gonna fold your ends in, just like that. a diaper kind of, I guess. All right. Now, you see my fingers like this or like this? You're going to take your thumb and go under it. But at the same time, you're going to cradle this. And you're going to bring it towards you a little bit and keep tucking it and rolling, tucking and rolling, tucking and rolling. And you see how pretty that looks with the cilantro leaf in there? That's nice. Sometimes you can put the shrimp there too, and you can see the shrimp. So now remember, this is rice. So you want it to not dry out. So as I'm making another one, we'll put it here, and we might take a paper towel that I had here, dampen it a little bit, and just keep it covered. So if you're making a bunch of them, maybe make a parchment tray, parchment lined tray, and then keep a damp paper towel over them. Even if you store them in the refrigerator for a while, like before you have a party or something, you keep a little wet paper towel with plastic, everything over it to keep them moist. You don't want to, get them dried out. So let's make another one just so that we can make sure that we go over everything one more time. It's tricky. So again, the lines there are as a guide. So this side is where they're sticking up. You find the part that's sticking up. That's the part that's going to go down first. Okay. You do one at a time. And it's best to double them, because if you have like a rip in them, it helps you, with the second one, maybe fill in where that rip is at. Okay. So you kind of keep an eye on the water, keep an eye on what it looks like. You can still see it. Can you see that? Okay. It's going to go back in. You kind of feel it with your fingers. It's a little tricky. It takes a little time. So you don't want the water hot, because if water hot, it will just dissolve it. Okay. So right there, see how it starts to get soft? Right there, we start to take it out. There we go. Let's put that on there. And it just takes practice, honestly. Same thing. We're gonna pick the side that goes down. Let's see. See right there. Squish it around a little bit. So you feel it with your fingers. You check it. You see you got some lines. So those are the little tricks. That's what those patterns are there for, to help you kind of visually know when it's almost time to take it out of the water. But the package doesn't tell you that. So these are little tricks I try to teach you. All right. You feel with your finger, it's starting to get soft. There it goes. It happens really fast. So you gotta remember to take it out. All right, here we go. So one, I'm gonna put it right on top of here. Some people say, should I put it on plastic wrap? Is it easier? I find working on the cutting board works the best, okay? Just keeping it a little wet. So now, same thing. We're gonna pick a couple of little, we're gonna put some cilantro. Let's see if I went there. And here's another way. This time we're gonna put the shrimp on the outside so you can see the shrimp through it. It's pretty to put two. Nice pretty design. Then we'll put a little lettuce. There. I'm gonna put avocado this time. Right. Let's see. Got our noodles. And then I'm going to show you how to cut these to make them look really nice for parties and stuff. No diagonal. With that. Yeah. So all these are for flavor, but they're also for coloring and makes it look nice. And we're going to put a little bit more of that. Okay. So we got it all together. Remember, we left two fingers worth to the side. That's important. So the first thing we're going to do, fingers wet, is we're going to grab the end and we're going to push this forward, flip it over, tuck it in there, grab our end, flip it over, and we're going to cup it this way. When you flip it over, you pull it in a little bit, gently. Pull it in. See how pretty that design is there? All right. Okay, so we have two made, and I'm going to show you if we cut them. Okay, so we have two here, pretty. Cut. I'm going to cut them on a diagonal. You can use a serrated knife. Cut them like this. Wet my knife. Going in a diagonal. Look how pretty the inside looks. So pretty. That. Let's cut another one. Knife wet. That one's got avocado in it. That pretty. And then we can put some sauce right there later on. All right, so we got that one ready. All right, so that's the Vietnamese spring rolls. Now you can put different things in it depending on what your profile is. I've seen people put sushi, peanuts, different things in there. Just remember, nothing too sharp because the rice wrapper is very delicate. Okay, it's glutinous. It'll kind of stretch a little bit, but you don't want to tear it. And I always find it best if you double up on them. If they do it with a single, when people grab them, sometimes they fall apart. So it's better to double up the wrapper. Okay. So any questions? Nothing so far. Okay. So we are going to move on to sushi. Now we're going to use the same ingredients. So if you're having like a party or get together, you're just making them for your family, you're going to use the same ingredients we have down here. Remember, we probably won't use the lettuce. So we're going to put that to the side, or the cilantro. We're going to stick with, or the noodles. We're going to stick right here with the rice, which is what we have here. We have avocado, which we're going to use. And we have all of our shrimp in here. Now, what we are going to talk about, a couple of things. We have wasabi, which is probably extremely hot, okay? You can make it from a powder form. I wasn't able to find the powder. This is a pre-made one. So just be careful when you're serving it to people or yourself. I'm going to put a little bit out here, the paste. And I'm going to use a little baby spatula for it. You don't want to touch it with your eyes. So you've got to be very careful, okay? So I have a little spatula here and I spread across the sushi. Let's talk about the sushi wrapper. The sushi wrapper, there are different brands. Whatever I can tend to find, I find. I have this one called the sushi nori. And you want to keep it, if you open it, it's going to come with these little silicone packs. Please be careful. I don't want any children to die. Or get poison. They're to keep the seaweed just dry as possible because once it gets wet, obviously, it's kind of like it starts to tear. Looking at the sushi wrapper and the seaweed wrapper, it has a rough side and it has a shiny side. You're always going to work with the shiny side down, the rough side here. And then when you're rolling it, these lines it has in there, these lines, can you see the lines in there? So those lines should not go like this. They should go like this. So they should be kind of facing you. That's the way you roll it. Okay. If you try to go this way, it may like break more. And they're so delicate to break. It takes practice. Okay. So shiny side down, and you want those lines going towards your stomach. Okay. We're also going to be working with a bamboo mat. Now there's all kind of different ones. You can buy expensive. These are from the dollar store, honestly. You wrap them with plastic wrap because once you start working with the rice and the rice gets in the bamboo wrapper, it's just a mess. And it's hard to keep them clean this way. This way I can tear the wrapper off. I wash these in bleach and dry them and keep them clean. And they're easier to get the seaweed wrapper off for here, okay? As long as you can roll it, don't do it too tight. You want to be able to roll it, okay? So this is a bamboo mat wrapped in plastic wrap, okay? So I'm going to set that here. And the same way, you should be able to roll it like this. You cannot roll the bamboo. It has to go in the same direction, okay? So we have the bamboo mat. We have our sushi, or seaweed wrapper there. Again, the lines go towards you, the shiny side down, like that, okay? That right here. Another one in just a minute. So we got that ready to go. We have all of our components that we've already julienned. You can cut them by your hand, or you can cut them with a mandolin. You want to have near you like a cup of water for you to dip your fingers in. I know that sounds weird, but it has 1 cup of water to 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. So you keep it near your rice. So you have to have your setup really good. So I'm bringing it over here. I'm going to have it near here. I'm also going to have a paper towel near me where I'm going to kind of like dip my finger next to it and then just kind of go like this. Okay. That vinegar is going to keep the rice from sticking to your finger. So if you have children that have like sensory issues or even adults, just having an icky hand, it drives people crazy. This is the trick. You keep dipping, not your whole hand, your fingertips, because you don't need to get too messy. Okay. So we have our rice. It already has our sushi dressing in, and mine's a little closer. Just the minute I touch this, look, I'm just barely gonna touch it. I have rice on me. Okay. So there's gonna get rice in your bowl. Don't worry about it. You dip your fingers in like this. Okay. So we're gonna make it where we have the seaweed on the outside. We're going to take a chunk of this rice and place it on here. Now, remember, you want to keep it, not too messy. You want to keep it in here. You don't want to you want to leave a little bit toward it. So you leave about maybe a finger's worth at the end that you don't want to have to put rice on. Okay. Keep it in a little box here. So I'm dipping my fingers. So I'm dipping my fingers. I kind of drop it like just a little bit here. My hands are still wet. And I'm going to take some rice. Okay. I'm going to keep it right here in the middle. I'm going to go back and dip. And I know it sounds like ridiculous, but see how I'm able to hold the rice without it getting too sticky on me? You want to pat gently, just gently. Don't get crazy and smash down. Dipping and lifting up the rice. And you're going to make basically a little layer. And your layer should be, about maybe 1/4 to ½ inch thick, okay? I'm dipping every single time I go to pick up rice. With that vinegar, I'm going to keep a little bit that way. Put some more this way. Dipping. A bit more to the end here. You want to make sure it's nice and even. Put a little bit here. Again, I'm lightly making it, pressing it, not making it too thick, because we still got to get our vegetables and stuff in there. And you want to leave a little space here because that's where we're going to basically like glue it together. Okay. Now, if I didn't dip my fingers every single time, I would have rice like already all over the place. It gets bad, and the vinegar helps keep it in there. Okay. So I'm going to go all the way to my end here. I want to use as much space as possible. Okay. So I'm not sure if you can zoom in or get close to the depth of the rice that I have. Like that. Let me turn this to the side.
Nope, no, don't move it.
You got it? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So dipping in. Okay, now we're ready for our stuff inside. Okay. So you can make it how you want to. I'm going to put shrimp in here. I'm going to put 3 shrimp. I'm going to put a little bit of, and I'm not going to forget before I do this. I'm going to put my wasabi. It's right across here. I'm going to put it on the top over here. I don't want to touch it, so I'm using a baby little spatula, okay? There we go. We got wasabi. All right. So I'm putting that there. Avocado. Slices of my avocado. Piece right here. Oops. Okay. Avocado. And again, you don't need to look a lot because you're going to have to roll this thing and you're going to find out the first time that maybe I should have put so much in here. Same thing. It's going to take a little practice. Maybe I should have put so much rice, or maybe I should have put less vegetables. And again, it just depends on what kind of vegetables you like. But you want to try to keep the vegetables lined up like this, parallel and towards you. Maybe a little bit more over here. Spread it out this way and that way. Okay. So now I'm going to dip my hands again. Make sure they're nice and clean. Trying to get as much of the rice off as possible. Okay. Now, I use this just to make sure get to my bamboo wrapper over here. Okay, the bamboo wrapper is underneath it. See, my hands are going this way. You're going to get your thumb underneath there. You're going to cup this and you're going to press and tighten it just to get over it, okay? Now, that bamboo wrapper is going to help you do that to get it off you. So I got a little rice on me there. Now, I'm going to use this, press it, and then stop for a second and go over it. I got a little rice on this side. Got a little messy. Okay, here we go. Press it and roll it. Now ours got a little big. So this is a big, huge one. So we can probably put a little bit less rice on the next one. So while we do this, let's clean this up. So we'll get rice on the exterior. All right, my hands in the vinegar, the water. Okay, it's nice and tight there. So now we have that. Okay. Just press it like this down, the wrapper. That helps it. If you come over to the end of it and it doesn't seem like it's sticking, it's okay to put a little water in there. That helps stick the end of it. And turn it this way, tighten it again. It's good. We're gonna take it off of here to do the cutting. So you want to put your tail facing down, okay? All right, let's see my knife. Okay, so it's some people like them 2 fingers, 1 finger. We're gonna start off in the middle. So this way we can kind of have even. So we're gonna slice. So let's see what our inside looks like. Pretty. So I think on the next one, we're gonna make a little bit less rice. And you just like doing like this. Wetness on the knife always helps. And I'm gonna put it here. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna put a little bit there. And there, that piece. Okay, let me wet my knife again. The rice kind of gets sticky on it. There we go. Okay, my knife every once in a while. Okay, we're gonna make another one just so we can go over all the details one more time. So sometimes people like to take a little sesame seed too. They sprinkle a little sesame seed on it, make it nice and pretty. So do that one there. It's pretty. And then we have our dipping sauces that we made from last week. This one's okay. All right. So we're going to do this again, just because I want to make sure that we got the technique down. Clean my board off a little bit. Sesame seeds here. Now I do recommend making sure your board's dry. Mine's a little wet because I did the spring rolls first. Okay. All right. So I got all that out of the way. Let's see. Now let's get our bamboo wrapper again. Off. Okay. If you're going to use, fish or tuna, something, you got to be very, very careful to make sure your fish is as fresh as possible. I kind of just stick to the shrimp and stuff like that because I'm always worried about what might happen if the fish is not as fresh as it needs to be to eat raw. Okay. Again, we're going to take our wrapper, our seaweed wrapper. This is the shiny side. It goes down. The lines go towards you, not away from you. Okay. It's going to go right there on your bamboo mat. Okay. I'm going to dip my fingers in the vinegar water. Not like overly, not your whole hand, just your fingertips. Because if you try this without the vinegar water, you're going to have it just all over the place. Okay. So this time we're going to try it with a little less. Okay. So I'm going to make it a little bit thinner this time so we can make a smaller one. Although I don't think I have any complaints over here when I make them big. All right. Dip every single time. In there. It's one of the things with my students, if I would make them try to do one without the vinegar water, and it gets crazy. They're like, I can't do it. As soon as we do it, it's like magic. And they're like, wow, what a difference. And even some of my mom friends are like, wouldn't I be able to do it without the vinegar water? I can't stand it having my hands so dirty. It's not dirty, it's just the rice is all over the place. All right, so that's a little thinner this time, okay? Get it toward the end a little bit. All right, so we did a little thinner. We left a little bit of the end here for the tail is what I call it. All right, let's see. Now, my hand completely clean. Now we're gonna put our different things here. I'm gonna put a little this time, some sesame seeds inside of it. A little different. In there. Gonna put our shrimp. Brie in there. Some avocado. Piece in there. And our veggies. We got our zucchini, yellow squash, cucumber, and our carrots. And we gotta do a wasabi. Almost forgot the wasabi. Put that at the very top over there, okay? Let's squeeze a little bit more out. I would just do a little at a time because you can't put it back in once it comes out. Okay, wasabi in there. Oops, that's on me. All right. So with the dressing on this rice, you're gonna taste sweet, salty, sour, and then of course you got the wasabi. You're gonna have hot. So you're gonna have 4 flavor profiles for the sushi. Okay. All right. Now remember, got the mat here. Gonna roll it. That's why I put the wasabi over there. I don't want to get it on my hands. Bring your components in. Use your mat to roll. Press down. You got your first little hump there on it, okay? Your hands clean. Press it. Bring it towards you. And then you're gonna be able to keep going like this. Pressing it. Bringing it towards you. Roll it. Press it. Bring it towards you. Okay? Use your mat as much as you need. And then I lift it like this and I go over it one more time and press it toward me. Okay. And then your tail, you find your tail there, you need a little bit of vinegar water to seal it right underneath it like glue. That's the part you face down. So that's your last little squeeze. Okay. All right. Now we're going to cut this, take it off of here. Make sure my knife is a little bit of wet, clean. The vinegar water. Start from the middle. And some people can eat like a whole roll like this. You can see some people coming in a diagonal. That's our inside, how nice and pretty, see? And if you do want to do one where you just serve like a whole roll, like a maki roll like this, then you would cut in a diagonal and you cut your end off. So let's cut our end off here. Cut our end off here. Okay. And if you want to cut a diagonal, you can. I'll show you what it looks like a diagonal. So we have a diagonal here. Knife wet. There you go. Okay. So that's, we have them at diagonal, so you could even serve them like that. Okay. So those are the 2 there. Make some room here. Pour our plate up. We'll serve those like that. It's pretty on a bamboo mat for decoration. That looks nice. Okay. So we have that. Take that away. And then last week, we did the dipping sauce. We did a Asian dipping sauce. I got into and I did scallion oil. This is my scallion oil. I put just a little bit of the dipping sauce to make a swirl in there. So for presentation. So we use that. And you can look at last week's if you want and find out how to make that. I also serve it with a little bit of just mirin by itself or the mirin mix that we made with it's the sushi dressing, which is that right there. It's cold now. I poured a little bit into here. So we start, or we have just your straight out soy sauce. Okay. So they have different things that you can plate up with that. You have this, and they can do some dipping in here. All right. So hopefully that was easy. I'm not sure how hard that looked, but I try to make it simple. I try to give you the little tips to use as far as the sushi rice, your hands, the dipping in the vinegar water, what way to face your sushi seaweed wrapper, and how to handle the spring roll wrapper. And it's delicate, but it's not that hard to deal with once you practice. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this. Next week will be the last class for the Asian region of our flavors of the world. And we're going to be doing Thai chicken satay skewers with peanut sauce. So it's going to be yummy. Hopefully you'll tune in to watch that. If not, like I said, check it out on the YouTube or the Facebook channels, and you can just look up the Ruth Keeler Memorial Library, and you'll be able to find these videos in all of our past classes. I'm Chef Debbie Rizzo with Studio Gourmet. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at chefrizzo@hotmail.com or reach out to the Ruth Keeler Memorial Library. And again, we'd like to thank them for co-sponsoring that with the Friends of the Library. If you're interested in becoming a member that sponsors these programs that are free from the library, check out the website, and there's a link there that you could donate to help contribute and to continue these classes for our community. Thanks again, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.